welcome back to the channel and welcome back to yet another reaction video. If you're new here for the very first time, my name is TMR and over here we talk reactions and reviews. What's goody, everyone? Now that I got your attention, make sure before you leave this channel you subscribe to it, and most definitely, sis, make sure you click that notification bell because they do go hand in hand. So therefore, every time I drop a new video, you'll be the first one to know it. Hey everybody, what's really going on? How's everybody doing? Y'all, it's late. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And you probably like, TMR, why are you up, sis? Girl, let me tell you. I have something like insomnia with this whole stay in the house thing, y'all. I take a nap during the day because I'm bored. I don't have anything to do. Just to let you guys know, I pretty much get up every morning, sanitize my house. I do my kitchen. I do the floors. I do the countertops, the refrigerator, because, you know, people going in and out the refrigerator. So I sanitize all that. I sanitize my bathrooms. I sanitize all my bathrooms in the house. If we have any laundry, you know, so I do a lot of work during the day. And then come the afternoon, I started watching a lot of Netflix. So I'm watching Netflix and then I doze off. And then, you know, so I'm asleep for like a couple hours and then I'm up all daggone night. So I'm like, anyway. But I am downstairs in my office because I have some promotions that I need to get done. So I had some emails I need to answer. So I do get a lot of work done this time of morning because everybody's asleep and nobody's like, mama, honey, you know, because I'm like, my goodness, I haven't heard my name called so much in a long, long time. But anyway, y'all, not to complain, but it's just this whole little sleep thing. But while, you know, oh, y'all, speaking of Netflix, sis, have y'all seen Tiger King? I know a lot of people have been talking about it. Yeah, I finished it up today. That was a really good documentary. I enjoyed it, but it was crazy, honey. Them people was nuts. Carolyn Baskin, sis, what happened to your first husband? That's the people want to know. Sis, what happened to the first husband? He just disappeared into thin air. Okay? Joe Exotic, child, you was too obsessed over that zoo. And ultimately, in the end, you end up losing it. The people you end up trusting, when you say you couldn't trust nobody, and then you let your guard down, and then you started trusting people, was the people you shouldn't have trusted, honey. But yes, y'all, if y'all have not seen Tiger King on Netflix, y'all go watch it because it's really, really good. Now I'm watching Madam C.J. Walker documentary. I just started that today. I probably watched maybe like the first 30 minutes of it. So that seems like it's going to be really good. Again, it's all about, you know, entrepreneurship. Y'all, that encouraged me. Just watching, you know, the first 30 minutes of it really encouraged me, you know, to get out, you know, to get some things started. You know, y'all, I've told you guys before, for my followers that's been watching me for quite a while, y'all know I aspire to have my own daycare, you know, so that's something I've been working on bit by bit. It's because some classes I need to take and stuff. So, yeah, I just got a lot going on. And so, anyway, being at home, y'all, I have done a lot of self-reflecting. You guys, the unfortunate thing is I have my planner. And I can't really plan anything. And that just really bothered me today because I'm looking at April and I can't plan anything, you know. I started yesterday getting my bills ready for the, you know, for the first of the month. Because, you know, when you see this video, it'll be April the 1st. April Fool's Day, sis. So, you know, I was getting my bills ready for the first of the month. I was getting my grocery budget planned because we got to go to the store Friday because we're out of a lot of stuff because everybody's here all day eating. So, oh my God, y'all. Anyway, that ain't what y'all clicked on this video for. I know y'all running, y'all got a lot going on too. I got a lot going on too, sis. At the end of the day, I'll just be so glad when this whole pandemic thing is over with, y'all, because it is wearing me down, okay? It's wearing a sis down. But let's get into this reaction video. All right, you guys, so while I was down here in my office, I had YouTube going, and I watched 3 videos. I watched Strong Mommy Chrissy's live. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow because it's a lot to talk about on that video. We're not gonna talk about it today. And then I watched Jasmine's video, something about the police and the Chili's mukbang that she was supposed to have. And then y'all, she did a live that I caught. Well, I caught the replay of it. And she was basically talking about in her live, y'all, she was talking about Amaya, or I think it was one of the 2 oldest girls, broke yet another TV. So she said now that's 4 TVs that's been broken. I was like, oh, sis. So y'all, you look, I don't think Jasmine really wants advice from people. She says that she doesn't mind it, but like I told y'all in the video the other day, I think it's too much information that comes at her at one time. I think, and I look, let me tell y'all something, okay? Everybody disciplines their children their own way, okay? The way you discipline your child, sis, is not necessarily maybe wrong, but I might not discipline mine that way. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. My kids, I have 4. My youngest will be 15 next month, okay? And to be very honest with you, I didn't have problems with my children. And y'all might say, girl, you don't get me wrong. Kids were kids. But as far as them breaking stuff, tearing up stuff in the house, I couldn't take them anywhere because they weren't behaving. I didn't have that problem because I basically raised my kids the only way I knew how is the way I was raised. And one thing about my mom and dad, they instilled fear into my brother and I. Yeah, they instilled fear into us. And my parents, they didn't play, And another thing, y'all, we was raised in the church. And my personal feeling, I know a lot of people that was in Jasmine chat, because I seen her chat room. A lot of people was like, take the kids to the doctor, get them some medicine. Well, as of right now, at this moment, unless it's some extreme medical emergency, yeah, she can't make a doctor's appointment telling the doctor my kids is cutting up and they bad. Yeah, they're not, if it's not an extreme emergency, they're not seeing the children or adults for that matter. And I know right now she can't take her kids to church either because, for social distancing, the churches, pretty much a lot of the churches are not having services. But once this whole pandemic thing blows over and we go back to business as normal, I would really encourage her to take her kids to church. Because, y'all, that's what I did. I took my kids to church. Not only did I show them discipline in the home, but when we went to church, they learned what God loves. And most definitely learned the Bible verse, honor thy mother and father, for thy days will be longer. Okay? So even now, my kids are adults. And, my 3 oldest are, they're all over the age of 18. And, when they come in the house or whatever, they speak. Or if I call one of their names, they say yes. I never require my children to say yes, ma'am to me because I was like, I'm not running an army over here. But when I called their names, they either had to say yes or huh. Never what. Like, that is so disrespectful to me. I had one of my old jobs, I had a supervisor that would do that. When you would call her name, she'd be like, what? Y'all, it was plenty of times I wanted to say, child, who are you talking to? But I had to remember that woman was my superior. But y'all, I really think that Jasmine needs to take her children to church. And not only that, that'll give them something extra to do to get out the house. In the church, you have to learn how to be still, be quiet, because you can't just be running amok in the church. Because if the ushers don't tap you on the shoulder, pastor stop in the middle of the service and point you out. You know what I'm saying? At least my pastor did. Her kids tearing up them TVs like that. Yeah, I was just sitting there looking at my device while I'm watching her. And I'm just thinking to myself, sis, do you think that's normal? Which I don't think Jasmine knows that's not normal. I think she's more frustrated that she has to spend money to go buy another one, other than the fact that they keep breaking these TVs, and what's the reason why they keep breaking TVs? I would think at this point, you would just take the TV, baby, and mount them on the wall. Like, to me, that would be the smart thing to do. Take those TVs and mount them on the wall. Most of those flat screens come with the mounts. And if they don't, you can buy them. I'm pretty sure she's not buying her kids no bigger than 32 inches. Buy them kids, get the little mount rack and mount that thing on the wall. So therefore, you ain't got to worry about nobody knocking it over. Now, if they take something and throw it at it, then you already know the rest, okay? But that's what I would do. I wouldn't have those TVs down where they could touch them. You know, the remote. I know she likes to give Kaylin a lot of privileges because she's older, but Kaylin's not ready for that. So Jasmine has to groom Kaylin into those big sibling roles. And she's not, to me, and this is just my observation, you guys, I don't feel like she's doing that. And again, I'm just observing 20 minutes of a video. I don't know what that girl do all day, all night. She said that in the video that I saw today, she said the police was called to her house. I guess the neighbors is complaining, and Jasmine is blaming it on the pandemic and why they're in the house. No, sis, that wasn't it. You know, your kids even at your last apartment, you had issues. I just think that Jasmine needs to instill some fear in them kids. Like, them kids need to know who's boss. And she probably yells at them. And see, that's another thing, y'all. All this yelling. Yeah, you can't just keep yelling at your kids, honey. If you believe in the Bible, it states, spare the rod, spoil the child. You know, you got to reach out and touch your kids sometimes. Because, you know, when you screaming, baby, that going one ear and out the other. But if you make somebody feel something, that's a whole different ball game. And again, you guys, I'm older, you know, and I come from a different era of raising children, and that's how I raised mine. Pray that my kids take what I gave them, their dad gave them, and instill into their own children. You know, all that constant screaming and hollering, and I know that's wearing Jasmine down, because it wears me down the little bit of time I watch is alive. It wears me down, and I don't even live there. So let me say this. This is my opinion. I could be, y'all may not do that. Just because y'all don't do it don't mean I'm wrong or you're right or vice versa. But I just don't think, I never got my kids to go to sleep like that. Like, I didn't give them music and stuff like that. Because I just knew if that's something I wasn't going to always do, I didn't want them to get used to something that I wasn't going to continue to do. So, I know she probably gives her children naps, but I know she said earlier in the video, I think she said, it was like in the live, you guys, when I was watching the replay, it was probably, I don't know, 11, 12 o'clock her time, 11:30, 12. And no, all those kids were still up. See, that's the thing. There's no bedtime. It appears that there's no structure. And when you don't have structure, there's no discipline. You got to have structure in order to discipline. If you don't have structure, you can't discipline. It's just like the jails. The people that's incarcerated, they have schedules. There's certain times them doors open, certain times them doors close, certain time for rec time, certain time for meal time, certain time for shower time. They just don't let the people in jail just run all over and do what they want to do, because you can't discipline a crowd when there's no structure. So in order for her to structure those kids, in order for her to discipline those children, she got to give them structure. They need naps during the day. Regardless if they don't want to take them, they're going to take them. They need to go to bed at a designated time every night. And sometimes that might even mean that Jasmine has to go to bed at a certain time until those kids get used to just going to bed on their own. Because I'm pretty sure when she up, they up. They hear her moving around, so now they up. I know she misses Philip, and she said it in that live. Or the video. She said it in the video, you guys, when she said the police came. She said she even had the police come in and talk to the kids. Well, he didn't come in the house because of the social distancing thing, but I guess the kids came to the door And she said Amaya didn't know what was going on, but Kaylin did. And I'm like, well, don't discredit Amaya. Yeah, she knew what was going on. And if she didn't know, at that very moment, you should have enforced to her why that police officer was talking to her. But that's just a shame that you had to have a random police officer that came to your door for noise control to discipline your children when you should have been able to do it. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Jasmine needs to stop telling people the stuff that her children is doing. Okay? Because not only that, it's obviously there's some issues, and it's not, you need to protect their privacy. Unless she's going to come on here and say, look, this is what's happening, and this is how I'm controlling the situation, and she uses it as a teaching moment. But if she's not using it as a teaching moment, I do understand that there's women that can relate to Jasmine and kids cutting up, but all women are not having that problem. And if you do have another mommy that's having issues like you're having, obviously she's watching your channel because you're influencing her. So if she's watching your channel and she's having the same issues as you are, then you need to let this person know that's viewing your channel how you're controlling the situation. It's just like with a Cook With Me video, right? Most people that come watch Cook With Me's, they know how to cook, but they may not know how to cook that certain item. So they're going to watch you to see how you do it and get some tips from you. Or maybe they know how to cook it, but you cook it a different way and they don't cook it that way. So they're watching you to see another way that they can make the same meal because they didn't make it the way you made it. But y'all, ultimately, you got the same recipe. That's what I'm saying. If she's going to come on here and tell people the issues with her children, then tell it in a way where you're teaching somebody. Don't just tell it because you're just telling it, because at the end of the day, there is obviously an issue. There is an issue with the children, with their behaviors. It's not normal for a child to break TVs at random. Y'all, I can say this because I was a foster parent. Okay? My husband and I were foster parents. And y'all, in the time that we had those kids, mostly all the kids we had some type of disciplinary issue. Okay? And what we figured out, they didn't have any structure. They came from an environment where there was no structure in place. So when you don't have structure, then you just automatically, you're wild. You're just running amok. I had one little boy in my care. He was 6 when I got him. He turned 7 while I had him. I had that child for about 6 months, I think it was, 6, 7 months. And in the time I had him, he broke 3 televisions. Now, the first television was already there when he got there. It was 32-inch. He broke it. The second TV, you guys, I went and bought the second TV from the pawn shop. I sure did. It was real cheap, flat screen, older model, but I'm just like, okay. He got mad one day playing the game and took his controller and threw it at the screen. Broke that. The third TV, broke that. He got mad again. Something else, took something at the TV and just threw it at the TV and broke that. Now, once he did that, there was no more TVs. And soon after that, he ended up being removed from my home because he had issues that I was dealing with for several months and I just couldn't handle him. And his behaviors were affecting the house, how the house was being run. Because a lot of people were, like when he would act out, everybody in the house would have a problem with his behavior and it would affect the whole house, us included. But what I found out was he didn't have any structure. He was basically at 6 years old able to do whatever he wanted to do. The parents didn't tell him right from wrong. And when he came to my house, there was structure. And he didn't know how to handle that because he had never been exposed to it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. His behaviors towards the end started getting a little better. But to deal with him was more, it was taking more than I could give him. And because I had other kids at the house, taking care of him was taken away from me being receptive to the other children. And I felt like that was totally unfair because I was giving this child 100% of my time and I was barely giving the other children, including my own, anything. So that's what I'm saying, you guys. I think Jasmine needs structure in her home. And if she doesn't implement structure, as those kids get older, the problems are going to get bigger. And they might get to the point where she can't control them. Now, I do understand she says Philip was, basically kept everything under control. But I don't know when that man's getting out. But Philip is been gone for 2 years, honey. Like, you've been having to manage those kids for 2 years. And I would think within 2 years, you should be able to at least have it under control by now. And, you can't wait for the knight in shining armor to walk through the door, because he might not never come or ever come. But what you can do, what you can depend on is you. You most definitely can depend on you, because you're there. Y'all let me know down in the comments, how you guys dealt with, behaviors with your children. Like I told you guys, my kids, I didn't have those issues. Now, my youngest, he was bad, but he's just spoiled because he's the youngest, right? But as far as him, where I could not manage and control him, I never had those issues because, like I said, I've always implemented structure in my home. From my kids, from when they were old enough to walk and talk, I started implementing structure. So when discipline problems, no more than the normal problems, like little defiance and stuff like that, because, that's what kids are. I dealt with those, but problems to where I was just like, oh my God, I got to call the police on my kids. Yeah, I never had to deal with that. Okay. Y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all think. And again, you guys, over here, we talk about social issues. And Jasmine's issue is an issue for a lot of women, a lot of single moms. A lot of single moms are dealing with the pressures of being a single mom and having children that's having behavior issues. And, and us as Black women, we normally don't like to tell people that we're having issues and we're not in control. But Jasmine seems to be able to say it with no problem. So I don't know. But all I can say is, y'all pray for those kids, because they really do. I hope Jasmine thinks about maybe joining a church and introducing God into those kids' lives. Give them other things to look forward to instead of just school and home. Especially Amaya, because she doesn't even go to school right now. I think if she would give her church, she can, fellowship with other kids her age, Sunday school, church activities. I think that would be really nice for them. And the twins too. They even have daycare for the twins at most churches. Not all churches, but most churches. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. If y'all saw those videos and what your thoughts and opinions were about it. And I most definitely will see you in the next one. Until then, you guys, remember, sub what you love. Bye-bye.
Yeah.